So welcome to another Exploring Consciousness with the DODGEBALL Hub. And I just want to say thanks for being here, girls, and maybe men who are coming later. And we've got an interesting topic today, or at least let's see if we can make it interesting. The question that we're asking and exploring today is, who or what am I today? Who or what am I today? And this question, I put a bit of context around this question. We know that everything is speeding up, or at least we're perceiving it as everything is speeding up. And there is no day that seems to be the same anymore. So it's almost like, you know, when you wake up in the morning, who am I today? From a place of, woohoo, okay, what's there to clear today? What's there to look at? Who is there to meet? You know, that could probably trigger something, or not necessarily trigger, just, you know, make me aware of what is going on. There's a lot of the old stuff coming through at the moment, as Tanya just said, and she can elaborate on that before and afterwards. And then, you know, there is this nowness question. The nowness question. What does living the nowness really mean? And I'm not calling it living in the moment, because I want to look at it from a slightly different perspective. Because when we say living in the moment, it's all about grounding and all the old stuff, all these tools come through living in the moment. Yes. Now, I want to flip the coin here and say living, nowness living from a perspective of we are grounded. Let's say there's nothing we need to do, because the body is the grounding, is the biggest grounding tool that we have. And we know now how to do it. So we're moving on to the next level. So we're grounded because we have a body. So that's the context that we're going to put through. Now, the question is no longer how are we grounding ourselves? But the question now is, what are we actually grounding? And who are we actually grounding? And we started that conversation a little bit when we did the elementals last time, because we are facilitating, obviously, the subhuman and also the spiritual human, the energies that are coming in, all those cosmic energies and stuff. Now, and it has been over the last couple of weeks, I've been become more and more aware of, you know, how we now become more and more telepathic, more and more empathetic, but from a place of just pure awareness. We don't have to take it the wrong way. We don't have to go the old martyr route, but we have to start acknowledging that telepathy, that empathy, that psychicness. What are we actually grounding in when we are being all these different who's and what's on a daily basis? And that's really the context I would like to explore with you, ladies and gentlemen, today. So I'm going to park that here. Now, let me give you an example now. So who's done a family constellation? Anyone done a family constellation? Okay.
I know of it, but haven't
very briefly, the concept of a family constellation is a group gets together. They don't know each other at all, or they can know each other. It doesn't really matter. Let's go from the premise that nobody knows each other. We get together, and let's say me, MG, stepping forward saying, I'm having a problem with something. Now I'm going to use, somebody gets assigned, Tanya is going to be my dad, Amy's going to be my mother, and Jen is going to be my daughter, and Lana's going to be my grandmother. Don't get it, you know, I'm just picking. There's no age relation or anything, yeah? With a family constellation, the absolutely interesting thing with that is, just by you being given that role, you immediately, and the person can be already dead. The father can be dead, the mother, the daughter, anyone. You immediately pick up and take on the demeanor of that person that is associated with me, and show me through dialogue the problems that I've had with mom, with grandmother, and with all of the other guys. So that keeps on coming to me at the moment, because I am literally I've seen people, watching them having difficulties with somebody, working through their old stuff and literally starting to look like the person they are having a conflict with. Even myself, when I know when I go to Austria, because there's stuff I still need to work through lineage wise with my mother, I start after a few days, I start looking like her when I look in the mirror. And I've just realized, you know, the other week that she's working on something at the moment, and I've been looking in the mirror and thinking, shit, I look like her. Why do I look like her the whole time? You know? And then she was telling me what she was working through, and it didn't click right away. And I thought, ooh, interesting. Because I am psychically picking up what she's working through, and I'm almost taking on the imprint and start looking like her. Have you had experiences like that?
Are you saying that you're looking like you're psychically picking up the thoughts of the person, and when you do that, if they're working on something, you are beginning to have the residual image of that family member?
That's correct. That's correct.
Mhm.
I've
So
seen myself look like sometimes my brothers, sometimes my mother, sometimes my aunt. Yeah.
It's
So that's interesting that you say that. I never thought of it that way before.
it's
I'm
bec-
happy for us to look into now.
it's becoming more obvious. Every time I do go to Austria, I've always like, oh, geez, what is never really, but now I don't even have to go there. And I just like it, and I've seen it with other people. You know, so often people say people look like their dogs.
Yeah.
Dogs look there. It's amazing how we're picking up stuff. How and this is how we're grounding things through.
it's been several years ago, but some friends of mine had come to visit, and we were sitting around the kitchen table, and one of them was telling me she and her mother had a very bad dynamic. Her mother was quite cruel, and they didn't have a good relationship, and she had passed several years ago. And she was telling me about having this conversation. She had just taken like Reiki too, and so she was kind of digesting the energy of that, the principle of that. And so she was telling me about a conversation that she had just had with her daughter, basically just saying that, like, I love you and I don't ever want you to feel like I felt, and I want you to know I'm proud of you. And as she started to talk like that, her whole face changed to her mother's face. Like, and I didn't know her mother very well, but like, I mean, I knew her face well enough to know that she had completely morphed into her mother. So as she was saying it, like, it was like her mother was saying it to her, and that was the energy that I felt of it. And I hadn't had a lot of visions like that at that time. And as soon as she finished talking about that, like, I just felt this cold, like, come up through my spine and like leave the top of my head. So I was stunned for a minute, and then I told her that, like, really her mother was there to tell her what she had just sold to her daughter, to kind of resolve that relationship that they had with her. But it was amazing how quickly her face changed to her mother's face. And I've noticed that recently with some of my family members too, like in the mirror the last few days, I've noticed like how I look like my dad. And the other day, my mother, I was taking her to get her car, and she told me that my dad had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So like, I don't know, that energy of that came back in that moment of like, when she told me that, obviously I started to think about my dad's longevity and his lifespan and stuff like that, and then seeing him reflected in me.
Amazing, yeah.
So I've been communing. I'm sorry to hear that, Jen. That's very hard. My husband's mom went through a long a long journey with that. And yeah, there's a lot of support. So I've been communing more with my grandmother on the other side. And I posted a picture the other day of my grandparents. It was their anniversary on the 16th. And it was a picture from 1938. And it was just amazing how many comments saying, oh, you look like your grandmother. You look like your grandmother. I see your grandmother in you. So, you know, I see that in myself sometimes. Yeah.
Tanya, the first time I
Yeah.
saw the picture, I thought of you too.
Oh, yeah.
I said, oh, Tanya looks like her grandma. Your
Mhm.
grandpa was a very handsome man too.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
I saw,
Yeah,
Cute
sorry,
couple.
go for it.
who's
Go.
going for it? I'll go for it. Okay, so what's been happening with me is in the dream time, they've been coming through. And my grandmother, which she never, when she's in my dreams, and this was the one I was closest to, I never really hear her talking. But this time we were sitting on the couch having a chat, and I thought she was chatting because she taught me how to sew and how to make quilts and do all that, knitting, crochet. And she just said, I'll help you. I will help you. And I'm thinking, are you gonna help me with my sewing and my quilts and all that? And when I woke up, I'm like, no, it's something much bigger than that. She's gonna be there with me as I go through whatever I'm gonna be going through. So I don't know if that feels, to me, it's been happening in dream time, what you were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And do you know, it's like when you get up in the morning, look yourself in the mirror, who is looking back at you? Because literally, you know, I look different every time. When I have a cool conversation like with you guys, I look completely different. And I'm no one. I'm not like my mom. I'm the avatar, the combination. Because you see, the thing is, we're talking about family now, but you know, we can take that, obviously we spin that further. It's not just, there are certain parts that are coming through. I mean, that is the whole purpose of the avatar, the I am journey, where we're bringing all our, you know, hubs of interconnectivity through, and we're bringing all our shards and parts through. Now those shards are coming through as well.
Well, Martine, I have a question for you. I don't know if this will go off topic, but what about a walk-in, your walk-in? Did you look different
Well, I mean, I was
than
14.
before?
I was 14, you know, but also as far as I'm concerned, my walking is fully integrated. So, you know, I don't see myself as anything different than anyone else. And to be honest, I never have. It's been a fun, you know, exploration, and it has helped me to understand a few things, but I've never felt any different. You know, I'm still exactly integrating the bits and parts, you know, that everyone else does. But I would say that I'm becoming more aware now of where, I wouldn't say which part is which, because we're all going to go for a synthesis of the whole thing. We don't really want to say, okay, this is now, let's say, the Atlantean coming in, or the Lemurian, you know, or when I was this or that. It doesn't really, that's not really what we are going at. We're looking for the whole thing, but sometimes, you know, there's just somebody else looking out through you, you know, and you might just want to acknowledge, hey, you, can't remember that. You know, this one, where do you come from? Yeah, I see. Yeah, exactly. I've had this interesting, you know, I went for blood test. The NHS here did a free blood test. And I thought, oh yeah, let me get onto this, because, you know, you're not getting anything anyway nowadays. So I thought, let me go. So I made a appointment with a nurse in the GP, you know, and that was on Monday, and she tried to take blood, and my body said, fuck, no, not giving you anything. And I'm like, hello, come on, you can do this. I said to the nurse, come on, it's not, it's sweating, and I couldn't see any veins, nothing. She got really aggro with me. She was actually quite rude, I must say. And she said, no, well, you have to go, you have to go. You have to go to the hospital. You know, I don't have the right material here, you know, the right syringes and stuff. And I'm like, really? That's weird. You know, and I talked to my body, I said, come on, let go. Come on, let go. Let her have some. Let her have some. Anyway, and you know, you walk away and you think, a rude bitch, right? And then I didn't think about it anymore. And then today I went to the hospital and I met a Sudanese lady. And she had her mask on and I only saw the eyes. And she drew the blood. And obviously she managed to do it. And I realized in that moment that there was no randomness in me not giving my blood to the nurse, because I had to meet that amazing chick with those eyes, because I looked at her and don't know what I integrated or what I saw, but I knew that I had to meet that lady for that split or 5 minutes, whatever it took her to finally draw the blood from here, you know. And that's the other thing that is becoming so much in at the moment. There is no randomness to anything, right? That was a bit off topic now.
Well, no, because I wanted to say about the blood that I've been thinking about doing. When you were talking about, I missed, my internet wasn't going so great in the beginning. So I missed, you called it family something, family
Constellations.
constellations. Yeah. So it's funny because I was thinking, I was talking to my brother and he was bringing up something about ancestry. And he's like, I'm like thinking, maybe I should do the 23andMe. I don't know if anybody has ever done that. Has anybody done that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's all making a connection today because it came in like, do the 23andMe, see where I originated from. I think you can get down to like really vivid, you know,
They're
down
getting
to
better. They're getting better
Yeah.
and better with it.
Yeah.
And as they test more people, you know, my parents did it. And as they test more people, you'll find they'll send you updates. Like, oh, here's, you know, we have a greater sampling now. And so now we see that your DNA is fitting into this quadrant, not this one that we thought.
But your brother is different than a sister. Like your siblings have different. His is just because if I look at his, he says yours is not going to be the same.
Mhm.
So I don't know. That's kind of interesting.
So would any one of you ladies who know what that 23 plus me is give a tiny little synopsis for the people like me and who don't know what exactly that, other than a DNA like ancestry thing? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's exactly what
How's
it is. They test your DNA and they profile your ancestral lineage. So they tell you, they group it in different quadrants, right? So they'll have like, you know, the UK, Ireland, Scotland,
Yeah.
Iceland, and then like Northern Europe, and then Scandinavia, which includes, I think, the very like Denmark and Netherlands also. Yeah, I mean, that's where most of my ancestry is from, actually, mostly from Scotland.
It's for
But according
ancestry.
to my parents' DNA. But then, you know, they
Right, it's
profile,
different.
they use like areas. So they might say, oh, okay, your DNA came from, you know, this area in Africa, right? Here's like a quadrant. So they kind of divide.
Yeah, they
Divide.
do like parents. They have the parents and then they have you. So they combine that too. I can show, I'll look, I'll show you a picture of it, but go ahead. Yeah.
And they do it not just for the ancestry, but like I only did it because I was seeing somebody for mercury toxicity and to come up with like a chelation protocol. So they look at like health markers in you and they can use that information to see what your proclivities are for certain illnesses and certain treatment
Yeah.
methods, things like that. So they use it for a lot of different things.
Mhm.
Like this. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but
Hold
that's
it
what
right, hold it closer to the camera. A
Yeah.
little bit closer. Yeah, that's good.
that's not my brother's real name, but
Mhm.
parent, and then him. And then they give you what the colors, where they originate from.
So the colors would be like a different area.
Yeah. Like, well, Ireland, Italian and Irish, Scottish. But wait, there is something. I have to go back. Okay.
I had a similar thing with the blood though last month, Martina. I went to get my blood work done for my health insurance because we have to do like a biomedical screening every year. And when I went the first time, there was something with my form that they couldn't accept or the account number. So I had to make another appointment to come back. And the lady that actually drew my blood, like you could just tell she was family. It was
Yeah,
another situation where, you know, there was no randomness. It was about meeting somebody that you were supposed to meet.
absolutely. I mean, I skipped out that hospital. I was so happy, you know, that I looked her in those amazing eyes, you know, that's all I saw. And she was just so sweet, you know, and all this, oh my God, I have to go down there again. And this, everything went, it just clicked that, oh, this is why I had to do this, you know. And then, you know what? Thank you, body. Thank you, bitchy nurse, other one who said, fuck off, you know, not knowing obviously what was going on on a conscious level. So yeah, I mean, and you know what, with the blood thing, why do people look into blood at the moment? This is another thing which is not random, because blood is all about the liquids in our body, right? The lymphs, the blood, the water. Now there is a lot with water going on at the moment. The water elements are, whoa, all over the place. It is now thunder through the rain, through the floods, you know, what we're seeing everywhere in California and God knows where else, but also in the dream world. That's from the dream world. I have water dreams the whole time. Now, I've got to ask you something, talking about a water dream. So I've had a dream. I was driving a cart with 2 horses, and it was thundery, it was water everywhere, and I felt like really confident with those. I couldn't see shit, you know. Normally I'm like, I can't really drive at night because, you know, I can't see that well. But anyway, I was just like going through, God knows, I can't remember where I went, the water falls and all sorts of things. And then I woke up and something dropped in the kitchen. I went down, and one of the frames, one of the pictures frames had dropped down onto one of my candlesticks that was made out of 2 horse heads. And kicked it off the radiator where it was standing. What was that? I know there
What did the horses look like in your dream? What were they, a color?
horses, black horses, interestingly enough, super strong. So it was almost like, and I felt so confident. And I'm thinking, I felt, again, that brings us back actually onto topic, because I felt the confidence of the horses, the strength and the power. So they were basically going, and I was just on it, you know, probably. I wasn't even thinking along those lines at the time. I just thought, oh, so confident, I'm loving it. It was probably the horsepower that wanted to be acknowledged within myself through that dream.
Well, I mean, like black animals, I mean, typically would symbolize like, you know, death and rebirth. But also I think about like the jaguar and the raven, when they're black like that, they stand on the edge of the dream time and out of the consciousness. They're like animals that can cross over from the light into the darkness. They're almost like guides to take us deeper into that dream time space, or even our shadow space. So that, you know, shadow of the transforming the shadow, right? Which is, I feel like there's another round of that going on for me anyway, you know, as we're just like acknowledging the light and the darkness within, and being able to cross through that space, right? There's not a membrane there, right? We can move between those spaces now with confidence, with strength. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And also I felt too for you, like when it downstairs, when it like plunked down, and I thought, attention, pay attention. Because, sometimes when we hit our head or hit our toes, it's like, okay, I hear you. It's like I get back in. It's like something changes in my body when that happens. So you heard that, it clicked, and it's like, pay attention. I don't know.
No, you're absolutely
But-
right, both of you. I really think that, because I'm so fast. I'm like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's the next stream? Even though I do write it down, and then,
Yeah.
but I was definitely saying, hey, no, horse energy. So, and that fits actually nicely. And I hadn't made that connection before, but that fits nicely in our topic, who or what am I today? It doesn't mean that I have to be a horse, but the quality of the horse, the quality of the water. And that's definitely something that's been an invitation for me to really, look for the, like I posted today, look for the frozen bits. When I went for my walk today, and everything was just beautifully frozen. And, we always talk about stuck things, but water doesn't really get stuck that much. It finds its way, but it does freeze. It does freeze. And it's really, it's a slightly different sort of energy to look at unfreezing the waters, right? Because what do we need? We don't need to have force, but we need warmth, maybe a bit of heat, a bit of intimacy with the water to unfreeze it. There's that vulnerability in it, which is slightly different energy to being stuck.
But it's also like an adaptability, because water changes form. Water can change into many forms for whatever purpose it wants to serve at that time, and to adapt to its environment.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I have
And thank-
I have a painting that I did a couple weeks ago that's been sitting on my coffee table, and last night it told me to draw a water symbol on it.
Mm.
There was
Wow.
a story that I read in one of the reading materials that my friend suggested for our Egypt trip. And the story was about the water running through, wanting to travel over the desert. And the water would rain on the mountains, and it would create rivulets and streams that would flow down the mountains, and it would only get so far into the desert. And the water asked the sand, well, what can I do? I really want to cross the desert. And the sand said, well, you can't cross the desert as water. You have to turn into air, right? So it had to turn into that gas to be blown, across the desert, and then it could connect with the clouds and, fall again. as
Anya,
water.
that's the story that Sean
Sean
Bibby
Bibby.
told us last week.
Yes. Okay. I'm reading so many different things. But I love that. I love
That's
that
all right.
transformation of the water in that way, right? The turning from the water into the wind.
And you think of water as kind of a gentle force, but water can be one of the most destructive things, even in small doses, right? You have a leaky pipe that can cause a lot of damage to your house. You can have torrential rains that wash out hillsides and buildings. Water can be very destructive when it wants to be.
Yeah, I mean, certainly look at some of the videos of the Santa Cruz area and what the storms have done, to Pebble Beach Golf Course and, the boardwalk at Santa Cruz. I mean, it's just practically washed away.
Not to be
So
underestimated.
I have a question from Martina, if I can. Martina, did you say that there was a candle that was that fell down and hit horses?
So the candlestick is made is
Above.
no, well, the candle was on the candlestick, and the candlestick is made out of two horse heads. They're looking at each other.
So what I was feeling about that was that it was trying to say don't let your light fall, or watch that your light don't fall. But even if it does, you have the strength, the horsepower to raise your light back up. So just be aware that if your light should fall, the power is there within you to rise back up. You have that strength within you, the horsepower, like they say in the car, you know, they give you so many horsepower,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
the engine. So it's something to that nature that is trying to give you that message.
Thank you, Lana.
Watch that your light don't fall.
Gosh, my light don't fall. Good.
Be alert. But even if it does fall, you do have the power, the horsepower to bring it back up.
And then you have the waterfall. So all that water comes. Woo! I like that.
Well, water can put out light.
Right.
So the
Well, no, I was
power
just
of
thinking
water
of
can
flow.
outer light, right? So
I was thinking more of flow.
yeah, but you know, the fire from the candle, right, is light, produces light, and the water can put that light out. So you have to keep watch that this does not occur, that your candle is keeps burning the light. That's
Absolutely.
what I'm getting.
And thank you, Lana. And look, I
Mhm.
mean, this is a time now where we're all going through a lot of shadow, as we just said, you know, a lot of stuff is coming up. We need to all lighten up, you know, and work with that enlightenment from just lighten up a little bit and have a laugh and a smile and go out there and enjoy ourselves. But I want to actually go back to what you lovely ladies have really nicely illustrated with the water changes and, you know, the elements all synthesizing and shape shifting. Because, you know, that shape shifting, not that we are shifting, we are changing our avatar continuously. And even when we talk, about who or what are you today, there is that element of shape shifting. Even if we say, okay, well, now I look like my mother, because obviously she's working through something, and on some level, acknowledged or not, tacitly or not, I am working with her on this one. So it's that kind of shape shifting, and, you know, or bringing our paths through or something, you know. So it's I think, you know, we can look at this from of course, from an awareness perspective, but from an additional level of perception, additional level of sensory perception, where we're starting to really see those patterns literally illustrated through our bodies. And then, of course, think of, you know, we always go back into the past because that's just the easier way of doing it. And I go left because my past is to the left. It's always like that, you know. But what if we go the other way, or to the front? What if we go into the future? What would we be looking like if we start working more and more with our galactic human, like Tanya, you know? Beautiful podcast, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. That was really fun. Michelle she's just something else.
And
Love
I
it.
would almost like to say, I mean, I don't know if you watched it or not, she shape shifted into something.
Mhm.
Who or what were you when you did that podcast?
Who was I? I was a teacher and a mentor and a friend, right, to Michelle. But I was also my higher being. And I was also all of the parts of me that are up for review. You know, the parts from childhood that are coming up to be acknowledged, the parts from teenagehood, the parts from, you know, earlier in my life where maybe I had made judgments that are no longer my judgments, right? No longer my stories. You know, I feel really like I'm in in a cocoon space right now, in a way, right? When the caterpillar goes into the cocoon, it turns into goo, right? There's like a deconstruction and a reconstruction that happens. And I think we go through these stages, many, many times over the course of our lives. But just being able to acknowledge, we were talking about the void space last week, and that space of, okay, well, there's a feeling of things having been done. And now there's a feeling of things to come, but there's still this transmutation that we have to go through before we can get there, right? To whatever's next. So I'm really feeling that, since the beginning of the year, that, that transformation and transmutation. And it's like, okay, can we be done with this already? It's like some really deep, old patterns for me coming to the surface. So, I'm going to try to dance it out, and been feeling, just kind of feeling it on a cellular level, right? As I'm going through these activations, and was feeling like a lot of pressure in my solar plexus, right? Yesterday, and did a dance class with this lady online, and I kind of like moved some stuff. There were a lot of tears, old water flowing out of my body. But I was asking my solar plexus, which to me is like the engine, right? It's like the engine that drives the chakra system in the toroidal field. The heart's the portal, the solar plexus to me is the engine. And I asked my solar plexus, well, why are you all of a sudden like feeling so tight and so tense? And my body was saying that it's all of the fear that I'm releasing from all of these different quadrants, right? From the DNA code, from the ancestry, from past lifetime, from this lifetime. It's just like coming up to the surface to be transmuted through the engine. And I was laughing because I'm like, oh, okay, I get what's going on here. I'm burning carbon out of my engine. My dad used to tell stories of, he used to work, he's from Pennsylvania, also Amy, and he used to work at a gas station along like the interstate, and he would drive there, and he would try to go as fast as he could. And he got pulled over one time, and he said, honest police officer, I'm just burning carbon out of my engine. And I laughed so hard because that's what burning carbon out of the engine was to him, right? Driving the car really fast. So all of that carbon like burns out the exhaust tailpipe. Yeah, for me, burning carbon out of my engine, it's burning it through the DNA code, right? Burning the carbon out of the DNA code. And I don't even know how that works, but I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to see, right, the way that it's releasing from the toroidal field and the DNA. So I said, okay, body, now I can understand. So thank you. Yeah. Go ahead, Jen.
Funny how we're all just experiencing so many similar things. Like I've had this pressure trying to like push out of my solar plexus for like a month. But sometimes it makes me think of like, do you remember in Spaceballs, like the alien that came out of that guy's stomach? Like it reminds me of that. And I'm like, if you're gonna do this, just get it over with, because I'm tired of feeling like that.
No kidding.
It's not that it's not moving because it's open, but like it just hasn't quite birthed itself yet. But I've been in the cocoon, and I'm like, I'll go into hermit mode really easy because I really like being in my own space. And I made myself push out of it over the weekend. I signed up for a month at a yoga center here. So I've been going, like I went to Kundalini yoga for the first time yesterday. I've got like a power yoga this afternoon, another one Friday. So like just to push me out in front of people that I don't already have in my bubble. And to move, I mean, just to get some movement that is foreign to me.
Fantastic. Movement. This is, that is something that's really coming through with all that flowing water, with all that energy that's coming in. Movement's really, really important. Even myself, I have been doing more yoga myself. I do it at home. I have one client still that I do with Skype, but I've been walking much more, and it's almost like, you know, there is no need for discipline. It's just like, I got to do it, and that's it. And it's just so lovely to see that when things come through, there's no hardship, because the body just says, okay, we're going to do this. There's not even a conversation before. All of a sudden I put my shoes on and off I go, you know, that kind of thing. And it's just so nice to actually acknowledge that, because, you know, there will be the times again when we go and we force ourselves to do something because others do it and we think we need to do it. And this, I think this energy that we are experiencing all now is really inviting us to trust our innate knowingness. And even if it means to sit on your ass for a week and crochet like I have been doing, then do that. And if you do want to get out again all of a sudden, then do that. But there seems to be a different level of discipline. We call it discipline, but actually I think that it's a different level of knowingness. I don't know, just I can't call it discipline anymore, because that's the old energy. There is just something that emergence. There's something that emerges, right? And then you just do it, that kind of thing. But did I say the shape shifting? I did say the shape shifting. There was something else whilst you guys were all looking at when it's over. It's not going to be over. So no, let's take that. When is going to be over with? You know, when is this alien finally be born, and when is the shadow finally cleared out? And let's destroy and uncreate all that. Because remember, awareness comes with responsibility, and the more awareness, the more responsibility, and the more we're going to shapeshift, because the more telepathy, the more psychicness comes through, and the higher the service we're stepping into will be. We're going from our lineage clearing, into earth clearing. I mean, you know, collective clearing, wherever we find ourselves in our local environment, we're clearing for the entire countries that we're in. That's why we have chosen to be in certain countries. And that's also what might be coming through, what for me is coming through now. Because I've been here for 27 years, -3 when I was in South Africa. I think that it's time to move on. It's almost like, oh, why am I feeling like this? I need to get out. And then I flipped the coin. I always flip the coin, right? It's like, no, the country does not necessarily need me anymore. I did what I had to do. I mean, look, there's always more, we know that, but there's another place that's calling me in, which I have no idea what that is, but who or what am I today, right? That's the question. Keep asking it, and don't try to even give it an answer. Who am I today? What am I today? Don't just go with the who, because what am I today? I mean, like when Tanya was talking, and going back to the podcast, you know, whatever you mentioned, we've seen you do here. In the podcast, I saw something more. I saw a completely aligned and synthesized Earth Guardian. I know you talk about the Earth and all of that, but there was something in a super galactic sweetness and femininity that came through, which was really beautiful to watch. So I just wanted to mention them.
In my dreams the last month and a half, like, it's usually somebody different every night, although there's been a couple of nights where everybody's been present, but you all help me find real estate. So like, I move every night. I'm buying a new place, and it's been in California, and it's been in Pennsylvania, I've been in the UK. Like, in my dreams, I'm buying property all over the world, which I kind of associated at first with the fact that I just moved in November, right? But I think I actually am, like, in the dream world, planting myself in different places.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's
I love that.
I moved to Australia last night.
Mm.
Yeah, didn't like it though. But they obviously need me there, so who cares, right?
Mm, that's funny.
I got
Yeah.
lost again. I get lost when I get very often lost in my dreams.
Mm.
I find it very annoying. And AB once said to me, I said, why the fuck do I always get lost? And he said, well, because there is something you're not ready to see. Something you're not ready to go to. So keep that in mind in case you get lost, because I didn't like the answer, but you know, what can I say?
When you said you get lost, what does that mean? Like the direction you wanted to go
Direction,
somewhere?
literally. I mean, I got to Australia and I thought, okay, well, let me just do a little bit of exploring, because there was so many people there. And I thought, Jesus, this is a lot going on. And water, of course, everywhere, you know. I was a really, really tight fit community. And I thought, oh, let me just explore a little bit the outside. And God knows where I ended up. Yeah.
When I was in my 20s, my favorite way to like kill time was to go drive until I got lost and then find my way back.
I'm very good in the real world to do that, you know. I'm not, you know, I love getting lost in the real world, because, you know, you start seeing so many things that you would normally not see. That I don't mind, but in the dream world, it pisses me off.
I understand.
I tell myself it's that my GPS is misaligned. That's why I can't seem to find my way, because there are many times I'd find myself, I'm driving in my dreams. And I have a knowingness that the direction that I'm going is the right direction. But there comes a certain point where I'm like, oh, I don't know where the hell am I right now, where I'm going. So I feel like when I wake up and like what's going on, my GPS is off. It's not lining up, you know, with where I need to be or be going. So there's something I think in our reality that's causing that to happen to us.
What comes to mind, Lana,
Dream
is
time.
is the natural way of living. Going back to the natural way of living here and in our dream time. And maybe once that's in balance, you can't get lost with natural way of living. We know what that is. We've been that. We know how to do it. It's just lost it. Or we can't remember.
Synchronicity, the synchronicity is misaligned.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like turning the Titanic, isn't it? Right? Getting back to this natural living where there's our awareness of what that means, right? And as wave showers, how do we really begin to like turn that giant ship right in that direction?
Why is it so big, Tanya? Why is it so big?
It's the it's the global narrative. It's what people
I want to be
buying
that
into.
big.
Yeah.
If
Right.
you think about it, what you're saying, Tanya, you probably got something there, because you say the word way shower. Now think about it this way: if we are way showers, then we're in the front, right? We're leading the pack. So obviously we will get lost because we don't know the way. We're in front of the line, per se, right? And then you're going and like, where do we go next? Which direction shall we go? I mean, that in itself will cause you to feel lost, you know, like, all right, which one should we take? The right, the left, go straight, go to the side, go backwards, you know, kind of thing like that. So that makes sense as a way shower.
You know, guys, that really brings up quite a few ideas. And also, I want to talk about intimacy next week, yeah? From a bit of a flip the coin intimacy kind of thing. We can go anywhere you guys want with intimacy, but that just brings up a couple things here for me, because, you know, I'm just thinking, what is this going business anywhere? We don't have to go anywhere. We're going through a period where we're going into an era where there is no space or time from a perceptional perspective. So what is this old business of having to go anywhere when everything is just coming through us anyway? So that I just had that realization as we are talking, because this is still me getting lost all the time, is me thinking, oh, I need to do something. I need to go. I need to find my way. I'm a way shower. No, I don't need to do fucking anything. I need to just connect and let it come through me. I don't even have to have a single idea. Like we said, Jen, you know, we don't need to even know where we're going.
You're probably right there. What if we are in one spot, right? Think about it this way. What if we are in the same spot all the time in a perception, a point of view, and everything is coming towards us,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So we're always in the moment, but in that moment,
Absolutely.
yeah, everything's coming to us. And then at different times we're feeling, oh, we're lost. We don't know what's happening or where we're going, but we're not actually going anywhere. It's coming to us.
Absolutely. Well said, Lana.
Maybe the Titanic just needs to spin on its axis, right? To create that portal within that everything flows from.
And most importantly, when we are thinking, when we're grasping onto a perception like that, it's like it comes through us. So we have to let it go through. We can't hold on to anything.
And remembering too that the Titanic is only as heavy as we believe it to be, right? So if we believe it's as light as like a fishing lure, then all you have to do is flip it. Like it's really not that hard. There's no resistance unless we apply it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's the perceptual change, right? From lower frequency living or lower density living to higher density living. It's like everything's just energy, right? And it ebbs and flows and transmutes and changes, and it breathes in and breathes out. We flow with it, ideally. sometimes we run right against the door and fall on our butts, but that's okay.
And this is why it's never going to stop, because the more open we become, the more going to flow through us, right?
Yeah, that's why it feels so fast.
Yeah.
That's why it feels so, like a screen door, just flowing through like on a windy day.
But what does that say about you, Amy, that you can have that perception that everything just flows through?
Natural way of living. It feels natural now to me to let it go, to just let it go through.
Yeah. Well, it's an acknowledgement of the work that you've done to be able to have it flow through, instead of getting triggered left, right, and center with all the shit that's flowing around. And actually, like you guys said, hey, this is interesting. There's something going on. Like Tanya, oh my God, so what's going on with the solar plexus? Great, let's have a little conversation with it, and then wait, because the answers do come.
And I was just, it was just like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like this feeling. And, just giving myself a hard time about it. And it's like, wait a minute, maybe I'll just talk to myself. And the answer just came right up. It's like, oh, why didn't I do that before?
That joy, I mean, when we talk about joyful living, doesn't fucking mean that we have to be in blissful happiness all the time, smiling like that. It means that we can appreciate the pain as a messenger. And we are no longer going into that polarization. There's enough polarization anyway, otherwise we wouldn't have an evolution. But we don't have to go into the right and the wrongness of it. We just understand it as the cycles. The up and down cycles. They will never go away. We become more harmonious, but purely because we have a different way of perceiving them. We can actually see the good in the negative. What we used, who uses the word negative nowadays? Well, lots of people do, but not us, right? Because it's no longer negative. There's nothing negative. It's just like, interesting, right? What does that tell me? Who am I today? What am I today? back into the nowness, and everything happens in the nowness. Now, thanks, Lana, for pointing that out, because it is the nowness. Living is that. Doesn't mean that things go away. It means that everything, even more, is going to come through you, depending on where you are. And these are the choices, because sometimes, you know, if you go into a place that is super, super toxic and nasty, well, yeah, then you're going to perceive it, of course. Yeah. That's
Maybe we need to play dodgeball with the nowness of the flow. So when we see a heavy flow coming, we can dodge it.
we can dodge it. Yeah.
Yep.
You can
It's
dodge a
not so
wrench, you can
heavy.
dodge a ball.
Because we're way
ball-
showers, right? We're no longer fixers.
The ball is the heavy, dense energy, right? Coming at you. And when it comes at you, you just dodge, you know. So you stay in the sacred neutral point of view all the time, you know, or try to.
Love it.
You go around, you bend, you jump over.
Or
The-
like Amy was saying,
Ritual.
just turns into energy and flows right through you. Flows right through you. Mhm.
Or you transform to adapt to the situation.
Well, if it
Mm.
flows through you, it means that you got to be really have like a sieve of a light body for that denseness to flow through and not stick around, because you don't want any of that part of that to stick upon you, right?
Yeah, like
So-
Amy's screen door.
Screen door, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would be your non-judgment, the key for that. Because usually when you go into the right or wrongness of anything, then you start putting up the goals. You almost put up a goal where the ball can't go through because you're catching it by having a point of view, you know. That doesn't mean doormats or anything. So sometimes it's not so much that letting it go through you. Sometimes I love this dodgeball, spiritual dodgeball. I really like that. Because sometimes, you know, because you just because you have no point of view and you're in allowance doesn't mean you're a fucking idiot and don't know when there's an energy that is not conducive to your, you know, not happiness or, you know, to your health or anything. And sometimes you just got to fucking dodge it.
But in the game dodgeball, you can catch it.
Or catch it.
Catch it, because that's, you know,
Yeah.
that's a point. That's
That's
a point
how
if you
you
can catch it. So depending on how big they are, it's kind of cool if you can just whoosh, grab it like that, but they're coming at you.
Yeah,
Kind
that's
of
right.
cool.
Yeah, that's how you make a point, isn't it? And
Yeah.
that is actually beautifully, you know, like, oh, no, I know this is shit, but I'm just catching it. I'm not going to let it go.
Exactly.
I'm just like, it's the acknowledgement. I'm acknowledging it. Point. You acknowledge something and then you put it down.
Or we
Yeah.
can get the wooden spoon out and we could just hit it away.
You're making up a new game, Lana.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
in
we're
dodgeball,
free
you
to
can
make-
take the
we're free to
ball.
make our rules, right? We're free to make our own
You're
rules.
right. You're right. You can.
This is a 100% free will
Yeah.
situation.
John, just in case you wonder, we're playing spiritual dodgeball here. Well, the slapping with the spoon, you got to be a bit careful with the karmic entanglement once you start slapping around. Because, you know, even though we're going, you know, letting go of karma, you know, it's very simple. We're still, you know, creating it. We got to be very careful. And then, of course, you know, if we are playing that game, you got to be very much the one who's guiding all your shots. Because once you get into that sort of activity, it's like some of the shots that, oh, fuck it, let's go, woo, and they doing stuff that you don't even know about it. So you got to be like, whoa, okay.
You have to talk to your team. Watch the movie Dodgeball. It's hilarious, but
Hilarious.
I love it. But you got to talk to the team, and the team knows exactly what to do.
Fantastic.
however you're lined up. Yeah.
Exactly, the team. You're absolutely right. Yeah. The team, because you're working together as a team. That's right.
Mhm. There's
And
not many of them
it's
on
all
the
about
team.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Fantastic. How are you today, Sean? We're talking about okay, so who or what are you today?
Ooh, I'm forgetting things today. I'm Mr. Forgetful.
Good. So
Just,
you haven't been here for the first hour, so who are you mimicking here?
Of the group?
No, who are you mimicking by being forgetful? We all
Oh, you know, I just not me. I'm just kind of just out there. Too much traveling, not enough in the bodying happening.
cool. So yeah, who or what am I today? Living the nowness. I'll just throw in a couple things we were talking about. Shape shift.
Family constellation.
Family constellation. Have you done a family constellation? I'll tell you what,
No.
guys, if you've never done one, find a group, find a facilitator. It's almost like psychic surgery. It's beautiful because you're actually using people, they're doing it for you. And it's amazing for yourself how I was once father or something, you know, and I had no idea who this person was. And I got really aggro with that person because I took on the role as the father, and God knows where that came from, but it was exactly what I played out, the role of the father without even knowing the father.
Is it a hypnosis kind of thing? What is this? No.
It's just like we all, like 6 people, 7 people sitting together and say, okay, I got this issue, as I said early on, and you play now all different roles just by giving you, just by putting you into service. And it's even better as far as I'm concerned, because you don't know anything. You don't know anything about my family or anything. So it's even better to work with people who have no idea. As fascinating. The facilitator has obviously, you know, to do a little bit of work and see how, you know, nobody starts hitting each other and that kind of thing, because they can't much happen. It's fascinating, you know, and it works a lot. If I remember correctly, I've only done it once through asking questions, but the roles, it's like, it's amazing. We're all actors. We're all actors. It's the same, like, oh, you asked hypnosis. I mean, think about it, you know, I give you a script, you play that particular person, you start playing her without being hypnotized. You just you just get in control.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah. One of my friends does family constellations. I just dropped her info in the chat.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. Well, maybe even, you know, if she's keen, she can come onto our show at some stage and tell us a little bit about it, because, you know, and even maybe play with us. Maybe we can do a Zoom constellation. I don't know.
That would be fun.
That would be super fun.
Yeah. Bet she'd be up for that.
Yeah. Fabulous.
Lots of fun.
Yeah.
Well,
Sounds like a great board game name too. Just family constellations.
Yeah.
we got to put it in writing, Sean, because you probably have forgotten by next week.
See, he forgot that he forgot. You forgot that you forgot.
I did. I took a sec to pick up on that one.
Huh?
You're exploring with your Earth Novel friends. Where are you? Come in.
Come on.
Maybe coming in, please.
Here comes the light.
Sean is probably representing a grandfather right now. What we were saying earlier, Sean, was that when you look at yourself in the picture or in the mirror, do you ever see yourself as looking like a family member at any given time? Like your mom, dad, brother, sister?
There's definitely been times. And then like at a point in my life, it scared me so much that like I had to make drastic changes. So I was like, oh, hell no. but still sometimes even more recently, sure, sometimes, yeah.
Would that be called a residual image?
It's called biomimetic mimicry.
Biomimetic.
Mimetic and biomimetric mimicry. So biomimetic is, I think now, correct, look it up yourself, but one is more on the emotional, on the programming, and the other one is, already on the biomimetric is the one like the physical, we can physically pick it up. I mean, it's all connected as far as I'm concerned. I was also looking at programming, thinking of that Zoom today, and you know what is not programming? Everything is programming because of the memory that our waters contain. We are programmable bodies.
I had one of those mimicries.
Yeah.
So just recently, but not visually, like an auditory one. And I was like, yes, good find. Because again, like I rolled up one and I was just hanging out and I was getting really deep into like playful energies. And then I looked in the mirror and like I heard my mom's voice look into my eyes and say, "You're up to mischief." It wasn't my voice. It was my mom's voice. And I was like, holy fuck, where did that come from? Better write that down. But it was like, okay.
I've had that where I
governing
hear,
on.
yeah, I've had that where I hear my mom's voice calling me from downstairs to come to dinner. Like it's like, Amy, I could just hear her calling. That's kind of cool. I didn't know what that was. But that's
It's hard to discern sometimes. Like usually you can't catch it, but I was like, oh, I caught it that day.
Yeah, cool.
We have voice instead of visual, just different sense.
Yeah, that's actually perfect that you mentioned that, because it doesn't have to just be a visual. I'm obviously more visual, but the auditory comes in as well. And, take the olfactory and all the other senses in as well, because, and often we do that, right? Oh, there is, I remember when in summer, when I go into Richmond Park, I can smell a certain grass there, which totally reminds me of a place. So it's not just people or shards or parts or, and the interesting thing with all of that is now to expand it out and really look, how can we do this nowness living and really start remembering our past lives and of course the future at the same time. So
wait, what would you
go.
No, I was just thinking, what would you call when you're sleeping and this happens many times where I can smell coffee, but there's no coffee. It wakes me up, but nobody has made coffee.
Well, it's because you're already projecting into the future. You're getting up now, you want coffee. So you're already ahead of yourself.
Are you a coffee drinker?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's your body, and projecting into the future.
It was like my alarm though. It's like, wow, that smells good. Okay. Wake up. Oh, that's interesting. I love that. Okay.
Wake up and smell the coffee. How many times have you heard that phrase?
Yeah.
Your body is telling you, I'm in charge of you. You're not in charge.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what I want. You better go get yourself up right now, girl. And
that could be too. No, I want to sleep. I got to be able to haggle with my body.
So we have been talking a little bit about, the bodies, talking to the bodies. I've got this most amazing book, a very kind friend of mine bought for me. Can you see it?
Hold it closer to you. Hold it closer to you because you're, there you go. Messages from the body. Yeah.
Getting good at this.
From the body. Anyway, so it's really, 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 really good. So I thought we could play with that. You got anyone who wants to just tell me any of their little, just one thing, ears or solar plexus is a bit, maybe we can go a little bit more detailed on that. And then I'm just going to read what this amazing book is saying.
My
How about
right,
left
Have it-
sh- oh. We all wanted to go. Go ahead, guys.
my right elbow's been really stiff for like the last couple of weeks.
Perfect.
Although mine turned out to be a big cup of coffee that I was drinking, too big, and it was heavy in the car. And as soon as I realized that, and I downsized, my elbow's better. But we'll see what the book says.
Yeah.
This is gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's usually quite, I mean, it's a very big book.
I'm projecting my suspected answer.
Oh, Sean, putting your
So, yeah, we have inside of elbow problems. Okay, let me read the whole thing. It's quite big, so you've got a lot to choose from. Elbow problems. No way, Jose. Oh. They are resisting changes in the direction of their life, and they're holding off new experiences. They find themselves unable to shift their focus or to change their perspective. They feel their values are being violated, and they're refusing to be manipulated or forced into unexplored territory as they experience it. They come from a highly conservative patriarchal family. There are lots of different things, yeah? So don't get hung up on any of those. That's the first one. The second one is turf protecting. They have the feeling that they are being used, that other people are elbowing in on their turf. They are self-opinionated, and they have an inflated sense of their own self-importance, both of which reflect an underlying insecurity about their role or position in life. They have a difficult time moving through the environment because they're unwilling to recognize other people's situations and needs. It comes from having had to fend their way in a self-immersed and highly manipulative functional family. Next one, studied incompetence. They're afraid of the demands of life, and they are highly uncertain of their coping capabilities. They therefore systematically sabotage and undermine success, achievement, and anything that might lead to their increasing their responsibility, to stretching the repertoire, or to their developing self-confidence. They are the product of a keep them around the old homestead, enmeshed family. We got the right elbow, juggling act. They have difficulties in coordinating their means of manifesting their priorities and resources. We have left elbow, ethical issues. They are encountering dilemmas regarding the integration of their values with their desires. Do you want to hear more? Stop me if you don't.
Keep on, all of it applies.
Inside of elbow, sorry? Yeah. Inside of elbow problems, moral issues. They are bothered by conflicts about their motivations, intentions. They feel at a deep, though perhaps not conscious level, that there's something inherently wrong or bad about their desires. It comes from a severely shaming family environment. Right inside of elbow, what's the right way? There are issues about their manner of manifestation of their desires. Left inside of elbow, motivational value issues. They have concerns about what they desire about their ethical integrity and morality. And then we got tennis elbow. I find this very interesting for stuff to look at. And sometimes it's just one word that sticks out, that makes me think of something that, oh God, I haven't looked at this. So I've been having itchy ears. I was like, continuously, itchy ears, itchy ears. So I've been looking up this itchy ears business, and intimacy issues came up. And I thought, itchy ears and intimacy, I'm loving this. I would have never looked at that, right? So that's why we're gonna do intimacy next week. And we're gonna have to expand it to itchy ears, right? Which means we have to really look at intimacy from a slightly more expanded perspective than we would normally. So it's got fuck all to do with copulation, but it has maybe that too. Yeah. So Jen, any word that stuck out for you?
There's a little bit of truth in all of it, right? Or a little bit of resonance in all of it. I've made a big life change in the last few months and have been kind of in a holding pattern of evaluating where I'm going next. And there's been layers of fear that come up with that, and resistance and disorganization around it. But when it brought it to my attention, I made a change in the physical, and then I did kind of just throw out the baggage in the last couple of days and just started to go forward again. That's when I got out of the house and started doing the yoga studio and started writing down like where I was going. So yeah, there's truth in all of it.
So can we safely say it's not the cup?
Well, I did
What's the
I did
cup
make that
theory?
change too, because there's a physical aspect of it also, but it was bringing it to my attention. But I was drinking a big cup of coffee, which I like sugar and cream in my coffee too. So like that was proportional as well. So I did downsize myself again. So I made a change in the physical and a change in the energetic at the same time.
So you just mentioned the word downsize.
I downsized the coffee mug. I didn't downsize my path forward, but yeah.
But look at the downsizing.
Mhm.
Not
The amount of
necessarily now.
push.
The downsizing is something, you know, we call it downsizing, but when I hear downsize, what it reminds me of is more focus.
Well,
Downsize. Yeah.
I'll use a different word. I'll say I lightened my load, because also part of my realization was just to lighten up and not worry about anything and just let it flow. So I lightened my load is a better way to say that.
And I really
Can
love, yeah, go for it.
Okay. I really love the muscles, because every time I think about muscles, I always break, like with the pain, I'll break them into the three things. Is it pushing away muscle? Does it pull things to you muscle? Or is it twisting, like a mobility muscle? So generally like an elbow, it's a joint. So if there's joint issues, like just a person has problems with mobility or just a direction in life, or they can't go somewhere, or if they have pushing issues, you know, they're just constantly pushing things away, or if they have pulling in that type of muscle group, they just have problems bringing things into their life. So it's like they have trouble bringing things in. So just with those three, you can really quickly just think about which joint or which muscle is going on, and kind of think like that as well.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it was where it would hurt would be when I extended. So when I was pushing, and like I do normally, my response to my body hurting is that I just beat it into submission. So I just force it harder until it complies and stops hurting. And I do push-ups with my morning yoga routine. So I do like 50 consecutive push-ups every day. And like one night my elbow was hurting so bad, I thought I need to quit doing my push-ups for a few days because I'm just really making it worse. So
Yeah, and the coffee is like, coffee gets you to push into it too.
Yep.
It's like takes the same pattern and just makes it speed up. And then we know with our twister muscles, like especially with a push, but like whenever you add weight to a twist, it's like adding 3 times as much weight, you know, like trying to do things while in a twisted motion. So like lightening the load makes a huge difference when it comes to a twist.
Yeah.
Or a mobility, or just trying to be able to get extra direction.
Mhm.
when I became a yoga teacher in 2014, I got facilitated by my body like no other time. You know, there was so many conclusions, so many preconceived ideas that I had, so many expectations of myself. And the body just kicked me out continuously, you know. And then I said, okay, I'm not disciplined, I'm not that. And the body said, you do not, this is not how you teach yoga, you know, you do not teach them this and this and this. You have to have, find your own way. And it really took me some time, to appreciate the messages the body was sending me continuously, and the realization how much we put our body under stress, how much we put our body under stress by thinking discipline. So discipline is no longer a word I'm using. I'm using emergence now.
That's such an important milestone, like like learning that. And I had this cutest conversation with a friend at school the other day, and she was talking with her sister, or no, she was talking about a story like when she was younger with her sister, and they were just like up on the bunk beds, and she was just really young and stretching her leg and just forcing it and forcing it. And it was just like, it's like that time in your life when you're at a certain age and you're like, why can't I move in the direction that I want to move anymore? And then you just try to force it. It's like, fuck, why is this happening? And then you try to force it. And it's that, 10, 20-year lesson of, you just can't force that direction anymore. You got to let it happen.
Forced evolution.
Well, I mean, that's really, you can think of it from the body, but also think of it on your path or your purpose, right? Think about a yoga class that I took one time, and the yoga teacher was very, very like active and wanted to come and like push me down right into a deeper child's pose, and my knee just doesn't move that way, and for long-term injury from childhood. But how I said, please don't, just please don't touch me. So how many times have people tried to force you right in one direction or another, right? Your physical body, but also your path, your purpose. How are we led as children, right? Instead of like allowing us to really explore what feels right for us, right? And getting back to that natural living for me is helping encourage and helping people open to their own flow, their own path, their own like purpose and direction, instead of like trying to bend them in the way that I'm flowing, right? That doesn't work.
I'm sitting here thinking, if our bodies are made mostly of water, why is it that we can't flex? Why is it we can't bend? Or why is it that we can't reach out further, like the that one comic book what they had in the past, what they call with the stretchy guy. You guys remember the name?
Stretch Armstrong.
Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah.
Stretch Armstrong, Plastic
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Mrs.
Yeah.
Incredible, Elastigirl.
Yep.
A bunch of them.
Because it's
I-
water. Water's supposed to be fluid, right? Why can't our bodies just go along with it? What's
I
holding
think
it
that's
back?
it. I think the water stopped flowing. Whatever movement that we've been holding for long, it just like dropped a big boulder into the stream because you've held it for so long, and then the water stops, and then you lose that fluidity. Yeah.
It becomes like stagnant water, right? Like in a pond.
Yeah, like if you just took the river
Mhm.
and then you bent it way too tight for too long, and that water just stops right here, the tips of my fingers, and then it just gets
Yeah.
blocked and stops flowing, and then we get pain.
Hmm.
But we want to force that position, even though the water's saying, I can't get through. This doesn't feel right.
Okay.
You
Well,
gotta
can I
become
experience?
wind.
I have to experience my yoga because to me, I didn't even know I had this, but I like to call in. So yoga is like just for you, right? But I have short arms. So I need assistance with the yoga blocks because my arms, I can't touch them on the ground when I'm sitting on the ground. My palms don't touch. So I need assistance. So I allow that assistance. I mean, not from your teacher, but using the assistance of of I'm going to call it props, helps in all that flow. Because sometimes we just can't do it by ourselves. Sometimes we do need that assistance. We think we can. I always thought I can do it by myself. But I don't know, that image just made me think of having those things around.
I love this
You ma-
delicate line of
You
just
made me
like,
think.
okay, you go, Lana.
No, I was just thinking as Amy was talking about having short arms, I'm thinking to myself, no wonder I can't touch my toe. I should wear gloves next time. Extend my fingers to get.
Yeah, they're just shorter. My torso's longer than my arms. It's like I can't. Yeah. Go
Well,
ahead.
that's what props are for. You're absolutely right, Amy. But you see, the thing is, most teachers do not really show the position with the prop. You know, they show the position, 5 ways how not to do it. So I've been to yoga teachers. This is why I became a teacher myself, because I loved yoga at the time, and I went, and every time, I've been shown how not to do it, but by the end, you don't know how the fuck to do it anymore, that kind of thing. So, and they won't necessarily show you with the props unless they really, I show everything with the prop.
Yeah.
And the other way, so there is no distinction between, oh, should I use it or should I not use it, or I feel bad because she doesn't use it. And most of the time I don't need it myself. I always say, I'm not one of those flexible yoga teachers, but how many teachers are out there who do that, and how many are like Tanya says, they push you into position.
Mhm.
That kind of thing.
And
It's
now
like
is
you
it
can't-
like,
How many yogis are there to say, look, I really appreciate what you're trying to show me, but no, thank you. I do it my way.
Mhm.
it's that delicate line between like the teacher knowing, does this person need assistance? Or am I just going to force something on them?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a fine line. Takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Well, they maybe those yoga teachers, they see everyone as one, that if I can do it, everybody can do it. But that's not true. My body's different than all of your bodies. It can move in certain ways. I can move in certain ways you can't, and opposite. So kind of knowing that is kind of cool, because when you grow up in a big family like mine, they think everybody is the same. That's kind of how I grew up. Everybody thinks the same. It's
Here, go through the mold.
group thinking. Yeah. So
And the point really isn't how you do the pose, it's the meditation and the connection with your body during the act of it. So using a prop doesn't take anything away from what you're doing at all. It helps you be comfortable enough to get the whole point and to be in that flow.
To go deeper into it.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Use of the breath, using your breath to flow into the position. Absolutely.
When Amy, when you were saying that your arms are a little bit shorter, I was just wondering and thinking for a moment, I wonder if you remember any past lifetimes as a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Or an alligator, because everybody says that they do say that. It's so funny. Like they do say alligator or Tyrannosaurus. I wouldn't doubt it.
And how can you use that to your advantage, right?
There's a lot of memory in that reptilian part of our brain, right? That helps us, right? Think about like the alligator or the crocodile, and the belly is touching earth and feeling the heartbeat of Earth Mother, right? So,
Ooh, thank you, Tanya.
something to that. There's something to that.
Yeah.
And some snappiness.
So snappy, right?
I was once working on a client, and I see a lot of animal images sometimes for messages when I'm working on people, and I got done, I saw like the alligator crocodile kept coming up, and this was many years ago when I had my previous dog to this one, and I came downstairs and she had her toy alligator out in the middle of the floor.
Wow.
And it's like, yeah, she's the healer. She's, telepathic, getting the vibe. All the toys were put away, and that's the one she pulled out and put in the middle of the floor. Yeah, we're
That's
all
randomness, right?
all connected. We're all connected here.
Or telepathic, I think you said earlier.
Mhm.
Telepathic, psychic, absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is really something to acknowledge, I think, more and more now, because there's so much going to come in, especially for those people who have been doing the work and who know immediately to go into, oh, what's wrong with me? And how can I fix this? How can I find a solution? Because most people don't even, go down there. It's the ones that judge themselves are the ones that are actually willing to do the work. So it's really a matter of going beyond any kind of judgment, and just really that old question that we always used to use is like, who does that belong to? Who am I being? That is part of that question. Who or what am I being today? And is that a part of what I used to be in a different lifetime, or is this somebody I know, somebody I've picked up across the ocean? Because, there is no time or space limitation in any of that. And this is the nowness living, as far as I'm concerned, is the nowness living, is exactly that. Who or what are we grounding in here? Because, we have a body, that is our tool, like we said in the beginning. So that nowness, that new nowness, looking at the nowness is, including the past and the present, because, what hologram am I linking into at the moment? Do I need to dodge it, or I need to let it go through me? All these things like what we've discussed today, what are those very simple tools now that we can use?
Andrew said
Yeah.
something really cool about intuition in the Saturday mentorship class.
Are
And
you
it
in
was
it?
just- Yeah,
Oh, cool. Yeah, tell us,
Yeah.
what did you say?
it was a quick catch, but it was like explaining how if we can be in like a slow wavelength, like delta, or instead of like a high frequency, if we can come in at a very low and slow frequency state, then we can pass and store way more data and information that the other person's intellect and telepathy can grab. So it's like, if we go without that, just explaining everything and forcing it on them very strong and hard, which some people might need, if we just do a really slow and easy and pretty much allow our arc field to do the whole job, it's not their brain that's going to get it with the high frequency. Their intuition is just going to pick up on it. Like, you just have it there and then they'll pick up on it if you have that slow band.
Nice. Slowing down, downsizing, but in a different way, slowing down, getting more. Yeah. Love
You got to tell your horses to slow down, Martina. Oh, maybe the candlesticks, maybe the candlesticks are like, this is how you're supposed to be. This way, not moving.
Yeah, not moving.
I mean, I think when you bring that brainwave state down into that deeper level of awareness, right? I've been following a lady for, 25 years or so who channels Archangel Michael. And for all of those years, she's talked about living as an alpha master, right? Being in that alpha brainwave state, right? That light meditation state, and walking through life is like the living prayer, right? And you can go deeper into that. I love what you were saying about, what AB said about the delta, right? Because you can drop into theta, right? You can drop down into delta and just hold that energy resonance that ripples out from your energy field, right? That then informs everything around you, right? Just like the pebble in the pond.
There was a bunch of stuff on the waves in that. It was pretty cool. Like, also, like, you can use both to do the same thing. And I think if I remember, the higher frequency kind of expends more energy than the lower one. So you can save more energy if you're using the lower one. But you can use both, really, to get the same point across. But it's just slightly different. It's pretty
Well,
cool.
and that's something, I think that's something for us all to experiment with and play with, right? Getting in with however you do it, right? However you go into that meditative state. Now, how long can you sustain that, right? When you go out and take a walk, or when you're cooking dinner, or when you're, talking to someone on the phone, or when you're doing a Zoom. Yeah.
I think that the seed of that for me, Martina, was when you and him did that frequency, vibration, and harmony. Way back when.
The brainwaves, yeah.
I remember listening to that show and be like, what the fuck are they talking about? How can I put these three things together? This is complicated. So it was a 2-year seed since that day.
Yeah, I do. That's true, Sean. I remember that one. Like,
Yeah.
what the?
Do you,
What did
do you remember understanding it much, Amy?
No.
That was,
Yeah,
I
that was
tried.
the link we wanted to make between the dimensions and the brainwaves, how easy it is, because people always think, oh, they have to go into 4D. You don't have to go anywhere. Just like what we said, you just got to change your perception, and perception is brainwave, and dimension is brainwave, and perception. It's all the fucking same, really,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So now, 2 years later, you're living it.
Yeah, it's
Right?
yeah, and understanding it.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, because
So
I
now
like that show.
again, this is row 2 of the carrot seeds being planted with
Mhm.
brain
2
wave,
carrots,
right?
you know?
Yeah.
Can you use them like divining rods, the 2 carrots?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
I
I
like
found a
that.
horse.
Yeah. She uses horses, Martina does.
Yeah. Well, they use me, obviously. No, we're using each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
definitely.
when we talked about the horses again, I was thinking about like the shape that you said they were in, that they're kind of like in an intimate pose or intimate position, which is what you want to talk about next week. So like the synchronicity there too.
Yeah. And that's where we were talking about there's nothing random, because, and then this morning, because I got the book out, because I looked at my, itchy ears, and there was this intimacy thing. And it's like, interesting, ears and intimacy. Not really. And then as soon as I only made that connection with the horse now, and them looking at each other, intimacy, I only made that as we were talking. But it's definitely something on the intimacy level that I wanted to look at anyway. So we're going to really play with that. So come up with all sorts of, think a lot. Because what I'm finding is that if we have a little topic, then over the next couple of days, it starts coming in. And I truly want to look beyond copulation when we talk about intimacy, that kind of thing. Yes. Who or what are you today? The nowness of living.
I'm the guy who's trying to figure out his next scale of awareness of himself. That's today.
I hear that. I feel that too.
Martina, it's interesting that you doing that today, because I'm feeling right now myself very unsatisfied with my life. I kind of like a lost. I'm trying to do so many things, and then, trying to find a way. What's the main point to be here? What I'm doing. I have been kind of challenge reflection in the last couple months. It's like, what's the point to keep going? Because so much stuff that we had to do that we don't know really. Thank you. We don't know really what I mean myself. It was like so much information, it's so much stuff. And then I feel like, what's the direction I should go through now? Because, so much filter information coming in, so many people coming with the truth and, their point of view. And then I try to find my own one. And it's like, for example, that you mentioned before about the constellation family. One of my friends introduced to me to that a couple of years ago, and I still didn't trust it, because we having here like a cows in the farm and all this kind, civilization and extraterrestrial, all those information that we haven't just manipulated, use it, our energy, and then I don't know what to trust. Is I connected with some being from another galaxy that's saying that from my constellation family. How am I going to be sure that it's really true? How am I going to be sure not something behind the screen, just filter information that they want to bring through? And then, I ain't like in the belief moves right now that I don't believe about anything anymore because so much stuff. I don't know what to really accept it as a true. And I kind of lost loop right now. Any case, that's why I want just listen you and then just, to see what they're coming from.
I think that spiritual dodgeball is a really cool thing that you guys brought up, because think of it, it's coming, you just catch the ball and you put it down for now. Yeah. Surrender. And even if you have 50,000 balls just lying down on the ground, who cares? Right? Just surrender to that.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a soul shard.
And just let them lie there. And then every day, who or what am I today? And then maybe one of the balls will come up and pop. And then you can have a conversation with that ball, whatever comes out of it, But are you going to be lost? Yeah, because we're all lost. We're all lost and found at the same time, right? So it's always flip the coin. And don't resist any of it. Be lost, but be fucking lost. Yeah. Take, if you're lost, best thing to do is next 5 minutes, I'm going to be so lost. How can I really go into that being lost moment, and just surrender into it? And you're probably not going to even able to do it for 5 minutes. Yeah. It's just the resistance that keeps in that frozen state of lost.
I'm seeing like a video of my mind of those play kit, those hall of mirrors for in fun houses for kids. And some of the videos where it's you got a 6 or 7 year old kid that's never been in one before. They run as fast as they can and just smash into the hall of mirrors and get upset.
I mean, surrender, I think, will be something that we will have to consider with the intimacy part. So this is where we're going into a slightly different way of looking at it. Yeah,
I hear what you're saying, Harmonia, with all of the information coming in. It seems like there's this open door for everybody to speak their truth and open flat platforms for all of this truth to come out. And I think that it's been important for me, right, to just get back to basics in my own practice, right? Sitting with myself and asking myself, what is true for me right now in this moment? What are things that I know are true about me, right? And just refocusing that back on yourself, right? And then maybe sometimes picking up those balls is going to give you your next step forward, or maybe you don't need to step forward at all. Maybe you just need to sit within, the glory that is you, right? And work through where you've been, where you are, right? And that's going to inform what's next. And it might not happen right away, and that's okay. But I found it's important just to not judge yourself for where you are right now. Just be kind and gentle to you, right? This isn't easy for any of us. It's we're building something that hasn't been built before. Right? We're in this space of Earth that we haven't been here before. So things are not written. Things are not written.
Really testing the water to see what happens. And it's funny because you mentioned that, because sometimes if I'm not doing something the day, I say, oh my God, the day is going, I have accomplished really much. And doesn't matter, the guiltiness coming on. It's like we are not supposed to rest. We have to keep always looking, getting better. And what is the point that, and then suddenly I realized, I don't know what take it to the right or to the left or go straight or go back because it's so much stuff. And then, and the feeling that I'm not doing much enough, that I have to keep going. And then I feel like, what's the point to keep going? And it's like a very complex sometimes. And then I try to, to look the way to motivate myself to, it makes sense to keep going. I'm in that position right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Herminia, don't forget to use your beautiful light language to break up the stagnant.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that will, assist you along the way.
Wow, that's interesting that you mentioned that, because I was listening something, I was trying to translate it. Like you said something, I was translating in live language, and then I felt good about that. That was like a last week. That's funny that you mentioned that.
Oh, that's cool. Well, there's messages for you there, for sure.
Yeah, that's also, if you said something and then I was listening instantly, I was translated in live language. That's funny that you mentioned it. Interesting.
So all those dodgeballs you catch, give it some light language and then put it down.
Yeah.
You see what happens, Mhm.
Yeah.
Most of them will pop. Beautiful idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to try the body message game, just real quick. Herminia, do you get low back pain?
My left shoulder.
Shoulder, okay.
I dislocated. I was in Nevada in Lake Tahoe, and I was invited to a place. I was playing, baseball. Something I don't remember. We were playing, and then I dislocated my left shoulder, and I didn't go to the doctor. I was thinking that I ain't strong enough. And then from that point, that was like 2013. I sometimes I feel like numbness in this side or itching pain. And I went, I get acupuncture and I went to the salt, the floating salt tank. I had done twice already. I can plan to see if I can go every month to take one. But definitely that's left side, underneath on my shoulder blade is the uncomfortness. Yeah.
That's behind your heart chakra.
Yeah, it's just right here. Yeah, right there. And sometimes I have to position myself like that to release the itchy pain sensation. And I still
I find it so fascinating. It seems that some traumas or injuries only seem to happen to the strongest of people, certain ones. And just because I don't even have an answer for that right now. But yeah, like what Tanya said, right behind the heart.
Yeah, because some people actually say spirit is coming through between the shoulder blades. So look at that perspective and just play with that.
Oh.
I don't know who's saying that now.
I think in the back of the heart chakra too is where we receive love.
Yeah. Shoulder blade problems. Want to hear it?
Well, it can make sense too, because even I have very strong love focus in my life, but I have received so many mistreating, relationship with people in all levels, and I have been so kicked back so many times that I had to go over again and make it again and come back from the grave. And I feel a lot of love, but for some reason sometimes it's like so covered that it's not like I feel like I don't need anybody to be alive, something like that. It's kind of very strange, because I can manifest love and be in a place and transform the place, going to any place and transform the area. However, inside me, I don't have that need for be close to human, or I need my friend to talk to my friend. I'm more like opening to support others, but for myself, I can, it's funny because it's one time I had this vision in my heart that was like a plug in different wire, and my heart was so open and so out from my chest that I wake up and I said, oh my God, these people are going to kill me from a heart attack, because I was able to see all the blood and all the channel in my heart connected to something. And I don't know, somebody told me that maybe that was a protection that I create for no matter what happened, not to making me go all down to the hole, to like reveal myself, something like that. That was the explanation I got in that time. That was like 2010, something like that, almost 13 years ago. And it maybe can be something like that. Maybe because my heart is like how it's suffering so much that I have doing like a protection or something.
So listen to the recording,
Mhm.
because you've just given yourself all the answers.
Mhm.
Listen
I'd love
again.
to hear that body message about the shoulders. That's-
Well,
Yeah.
it's all about it, really. But
Yeah.
let me read it for you. Pain between the shoulder blades, vulnerability avoidance. They are having emotional opening or emotional compression problems. They are unwilling to open their heart center due to untrustworthy parenting. Did you say left shoulder?
Yes.
Left shoulder blades alone on their own. They have been carrying the load of meeting all their own needs. They encountered a maternal expectation that they make no demands, that they have no needs, and or that they deserve no help from any friends. And this got started early on, and they have taken that as a foundation assumption of their whole lifestyle. Now they have found that they can't continue in that manner anymore, that interdependence is the only way to fly. They are deeply discombobulated by this change in their life. They have to rethink the whole relationship to the universe in the direction of finding the God does love and support them.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, because that was the way I was raising, that you have to take care of everybody and forget about yourself. That I don't need anybody. That's the point. Yeah.
And welcome to the group. Welcome to the group, because we're not here to heal each other or anything. We're here to share our experiences, and there's a reason why we're coming together in that kind of forum. We are all interdependent. We all had to do the hard thing. We've all come from dysfunctional families, and we had to learn what feminine and what masculine is and all of that. And now is the time to start trusting the divine support. And that's what I'm going to finish with that. That's what we're going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about divine intimacy. So thank you very much for being here today. Great chat. The recording's going to go out, and I'll see you next week.
Thank
See ya.
you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye.